Hello, everybody. I just finished a morning of teaching and I wanted to get on here real quick before I go homeschool my kids and talk about boundaries. So, as you may or may not know, I have been teaching on Cambly since January 2021. However, I just got off of an extended break due to COVID and some other personal things. I'm back. Hooray! And something that I've learned from my previous experience that I'm making sure to stick to right now is to set boundaries with students. So, what do I mean? For example, previously I would open my schedule for what I had available, and once I would taught a student for a while, they would get comfortable with me and we would have that rapport between teacher and student, and they would request, "Teacher, can you teach me at this day and this time? That works better for my schedule." And because I had that connection with those students and I wanted to keep them as students, I would bend over backwards to accommodate them. And it was making me run around like a chicken with their head cut off, as my mom would say. I had my kids last year at home doing distance learning, and I was trying to help them and then squeeze in a class here and help them and squeeze in a class there and write feedback and check on their work. And it just wasn't working for me. It was working for my students, it wasn't working for me. And so this time around, I've already reconnected with some of my old students as well as met new students, and I'll be making a video about that. But I've reconnected with some of my old students, and they have asked me, "Can you open this day? Can you open that time?" And this time I have set boundaries for my own mental well being and for the well being of my family. I have made it very clear, I'm sorry, the times that I have open are my only availability. I have other commitments outside of that. Please choose a time that's convenient for you, or please keep an eye on my schedule for any changes that may come up in the future. And guess what? The world didn't end. They didn't get angry. All of them that have requested specific times ended up switching their schedule and replying so politely, "It's okay, we moved things. We're signing up for this day and time." It has just worked out. And so I think I had made a mountain out of a molehill, and I learned a very important lesson, which I wanted to pass on to you as well. And number two, the second boundary that I am sticking to, which I also stuck to the first time, and it was very good. So I'm doing it again this time. I learned this from other experienced Cambly tutors in our online Cambly community on Facebook. It's an amazing group full of knowledge, wisdom, information, laughs, just encouragement. It's a wonderful place to go if you're a Cambly tutor. But something I started doing last time is if a student missed class, I would let them know that I had a 3 miss policy. So let them know very politely. I understand sometimes there are tech issues or life issues come up. Please let me know if that's the case, and please reach out to Cambly if you need help with tech support. However, just missing class without an explanation or without a reason is not respectful to the tutor's time or to other students' time who had wanted to take classes with the tutor, but the tutor was booked. And so I let them know, this is your first time missing. 2 more times and I won't be able to accept class requests from you anymore. And so yesterday this happened. One of my students missed her class yesterday, and thankfully I made myself available on Cambly, and I ended up speaking to two 15-minute students who were just lovely. It was a great experience. But like I said, that was fortunate. If my student missed yesterday, there was no guarantee that anybody else was going to call me. I may just have sat there for 30 minutes. And so I sent a very nice message to the person letting them know about my policy, and they were in class today. Last time around when I was teaching, I had a very consistent set of regular students, Monday through Saturday. They would take class the same day and same time, week after week, month after month. And I was not having students who showed up late or students who missed. And if they did need to miss, they would message me first and give me a warning. My schedule was very, very dependable. And so that's what I'm hoping to accomplish this time around as well. And so, how did I get them to show up on time? That's another boundary that I set, which I'll be repeating. So, when a student shows up late, what happens is they have a timer on their screen for how many minutes they've purchased. Regularly around 30, it could be 15, 30, 45, an hour. Usually 30, so we'll use 30 as our example. So as soon as class starts, the timer starts counting down. However, let's say they have a class scheduled at 7 and there's another class scheduled with somebody else at 7:30. They show up at 7:05. Their timer still says 30 minutes. So that means if I am going to teach them 30 minutes, I'm going to teach them into 7:35, into my next student's time slot, which isn't fair for student number 2 who showed up on time to have them sit and wait for 5 whole minutes. What about if they have a class right after? What about if they have plans right after? That's not considerate of student number 2. So when student number 1 shows up late, as soon as we start class, the first thing I do is I type it in our chat box, which translates it to their language. And I tell them, oh, we are starting 5 minutes late today. We will need to end on time because I have another class after. I hope next time we can have our full 30 minutes. And then they usually say, okay. I've never had a student tell me, no, they understand they were late. I usually get an okay, and then, okay, let's begin. And then they usually don't show up late again, because what happens on the student side is they bought 30 minutes. They only got a 25-minute class because they were late. Those 5 minutes are gone. Next time it doesn't register as 35 minutes. Gone. They lose out on those 5 minutes. So they don't want that to happen. And so they start coming to class punctually if they want to take classes with me. And it worked great last time. I would start each class on time and finish each class on time. And here's a little secret. My last student of the day, you would think, oh, well, she doesn't have class after, so she probably was lenient with them being late. No, they don't know I don't have a class after. I could have a doctor's appointment after. I could have a lunch date with my mom after. They don't know what's happening after. And so even though they were my last class of the day, I kept the same policy with my last student as well, because I wanted that last student to show up on time as well. Because usually I do have my kids waiting. As soon as I'm done teaching, I walk out and I start my day with my kids. So it's the same across the board for everybody. It was really successful last time. I'm going to be implementing it this time. My old regulars know, but all the new students that I'm meeting, it's a little training period, and hopefully everything goes well. Those are my boundaries, my 3 boundaries I set in place as far as my schedule goes with my students. And if you're a new Cambly tutor, or you're a tutor who's been tutoring for a while and you were running around with your head cut off, like a chicken with her head cut off, like I was, I hope this is helpful for you. Well, I hear my little ones up, so it's time for me to go and homeschool my kids. Talk to you later.